Hi students, this is Ms. Ty here. In this video, we will review questions number 13 through 24 on the January 2024 Algebra 1 Regents. We'll use this review to prepare for your upcoming Regents exam. So grab a notebook and pencil and let's get started. Number 13, the function f of x is graphed on the set of axes below. What is the equation of the axis of symmetry for f of x? Recall that the axis of symmetry is the vertical line that will split the parabola in half. So I will draw the axis of symmetry right here on the graph so you can see it very clearly, right? So here is our axis of symmetry. Notice that this line is intersecting the x-axis at -1. Therefore, the equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals -1. So in this case, answer choice 1 is the correct answer. Let's continue. Number 14. What is the degree of the polynomial 5x minus 3x squared minus 1 plus 7x cubed? The degree of a polynomial is basically the biggest exponent in the expression. So we'll start by looking at the term that has the largest exponents. So in this case, that will be 7x cubed, followed by minus 3x squared, then plus 5x, and then minus 1. So this is technically what standard form looks like when you have the exponents going in descending order. Once you identify the term with the largest exponent, which is 7x cubed, the degree is always going to be the biggest exponent. So in this case, the correct answer is choice 3. The degree of this polynomial is 3. Let's continue. Number 15, the product of x squared plus 3x plus 9 and x minus 3 is, I will do a double distributive property. So I'll write the x minus 3 over here, and then we'll have the x squared plus 3x plus 9 over here. And then we're going to distribute the terms. So we will multiply x by x squared, x by 3x, and x by 9. We'll also multiply -3 times x squared, -3 times 3x, and -3 times 9. And let's see what we get. So x times x squared is x cubed, x times 3x is 3x squared, and x times 9 is 9x. Then we have -3 times x squared is -3x squared. -3 times positive 3x is minus 9x. And -3 times positive 9 is minus 27. Now we need to identify the like terms. So notice there are no other x cubed terms, so we're going to leave that alone. The 3x squared is a like term with -3x squared, but guess what? 3 minus 3 is 0, so these terms will cancel out. And then 9x is a like term with -9x. Again, these two will cancel out. 9 minus 9 is 0. So we are left with x cubed minus 27 as our final answer. Therefore, answer choice 1 is the correct answer. Let's continue. For number 16, it says the solution to 2 over 3 times 3 minus 2x equals 3/4. For this problem, if you wanted to use the calculator, you can simply take the numbers and substitute it into the equation to see which one is going to be equal to 3/4. So I'll show you how to check your answer using the calculator. But for right now, I would start off by distributing the 2/3 into our parentheses. So let's see what we get. When we do 2/3 times 3, let's do the math over here. 2/3 times 3 over 1. Guys, for me, I like to cancel out. The 3's will cancel out to leave you with 2 over 1 or just 2. For those of you who aren't familiar with canceling out, let me show you what that looks like. You're simply going to multiply horizontally. So 2 over 3 times 3 over 1 equals 2 times 3, which is 6, and 3 times 1, which is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So either way, you're going to get the value of 2. And then we have 2/3 times -2x. So of course, a positive times a negative is a negative, but then we have 2 over 3 times 2 over 1. So that gives you 4/3 x. That equals 3/4. Now it's up to you if you want to leave it as a fraction or a decimal. There's a lot going on here. If you go ahead and subtract 2 on both sides, what you're going to have to do is get the denominators to be the same. So if I have -4/3 x, I will have 3/4 minus 8 over 4. because 8 divided by 4 is 2. So -4/3 x equals 3 minus 8 is -5/4. Now, anytime you have a fractional coefficient, in order to solve for x, you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So you're going to multiply both sides by -3/4. So when I multiply both sides by -3/4, notice on the left-hand side, these numbers will cancel because technically you're going to have +12 over +12, which becomes 1x. So we now have x equals 15/16. Now, if this was a lot for you, there is a way for you to check your answers on the calculator. It's a little tedious, but you have 3 hours to take this exam. So you might as well get comfortable with figuring out how to use the calculator to solve these types of problems. Let's grab our calculator. All right, guys, so let's use our calculator to find the answer to this question. Now, this will be a little bit tedious, but again, you guys have plenty of time on this Regents to test out these answers. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with 2/3. So notice 2/3 is being multiplied. So I'm going to put 2 divided by 3 in one parentheses, and then we're multiplying 3 minus 2 times, right? And now we're going to enter our answer choices. So the first one is -11 divided by 8. I'm going to close out this parentheses for that first potential answer choice, and I'm also going to close out the parentheses for the binomial 3 minus 2x, and I'm going to press enter. Notice our answer is 3.833333. Hopefully everyone here knows that 3/4 is equal to 0.75. If not, please go ahead and calculate that right now, okay? So we're looking for an answer of 0.75, and so we didn't get that. So we know that choice 1 is incorrect. So now you're going to press second enter. So now that's going to re-enter the same information that you put in before, but now we can edit it. Since answer choice 3 also has a negative, I'm going to test that one out. So we're going to have -33 divided by 16, and then we're going to press enter. We have 4.75. Again, not the answer we're looking for. We're looking for an answer of 0.75. So we're going to press second enter again. This time we're going to replace -33/16 with 5 divided by 8. And notice we're getting 1.166 repeating, right? So let's try out our final answer, which is 15/16. And guess what? We got 0.75. So that's like a shortcut way to find the answer. It's not my preference. I want you guys to learn your algebra. I want you guys to know how to solve these things. But in the event that your test is right around the corner, which for many of you it is, you need to make sure you have these shortcuts in your back pocket. Okay, so we're going to continue. And I hope that you were able to master this one. Number 17, if f of x equals 2x plus 6 and g of x equals the absolute value of x are graphed on the same coordinate plane, for which value of x is f of x equal to g of x? This is totally a calculator problem. Let's head on over to our calculator. You can go right to y equals and enter both functions. So f of x is 2x plus 6. I'm going to put 2x plus 6 in y1, and then I'm going to come right down to y2. Remember, second 0 is where you can grab the absolute value function. So we will press enter because it's the first one here. And now we have the absolute value of x. So just make sure you hit the variable on the inside right here. Now we're going to check out the table of values. So we're going to hit second graph. And the question is asking for what value of x is f of x equal to g of x. So I'm going to scan through to see when the y values are the same. So I see 6, 0, 8, 1, 10, 2, 12, 3, 14, 4. So it's not looking too good as we get bigger. Let's see as we get smaller what happens. 4, 1, 2, 2. All right, this looks to be like our lucky number. So for the value of x equals -2, that is when f of x is equal to g of x. So the correct answer is going to be choice 3, -2. Let's continue. Number 18, what is the solution to the inequality 2x minus 7 is greater than 2.5x plus 3? Let's solve. If we take a look at all of the answer choices, x is on the left. So I'm going to move 2.5x to the left by subtracting 2.5x on both sides. Guys, if you need help with this, just put in the calculator, but basically 2x minus 2.5x is -0.5x. And we have -7 is greater than 3 because 2.5x minus 2.5x is going to completely cancel out. Now we're going to add 7 on both sides. So we now have -0.5x is greater than 10. Our last step is to divide by -0.5 on both both sides. Guys, did you remember the rule that when you divide an inequality by a negative number, you need to switch the direction of the inequality symbol? So it's now going to change from greater than to less than. And 10 divided by negative 0.5 is negative 20. Therefore, answer choice 4 is the correct answer. Let's continue. 3 expressions are written below. You have A, B, and C. Which expressions are equivalent to 8x cubed times y to the 6th power? So we're going to use our exponent rules to figure this out. Anytime you raise an exponent to another exponent, you're going to make sure that each number or variable has an exponent, and then we're going to distribute the 3 to each of these exponents. So 1 times 3 is 3, so we have 2 to the 3rd power. 1 times 3 is 3, we have x to the 3rd power, and 2 times 3 is 6, we have y to the 6th power. So we end up with 8x cubed y to the 6th. That looks very much so like what was given in the original problem. So we know that A is a part of the final answer. So let's get rid of answer choice 2. For this one, you're going to do the same thing. We're going to have 2 to the 3rd power, x to the 3rd power. So we have 2 to the 3rd power, x to the 3rd power times y to the 6th power. We also end up with 8x cubed y to the 6th power. So that is B. B is definitely going to be correct. So I'm going to get rid of answer choice 3, because so far we know A and B are both definitely correct. Now, this last option here is just asking us to multiply. So we have 2 times 4 is 8, and then we're multiplying x squared times x. When multiplying exponents with the same base, we keep the base and add the exponent. So we end up with x cubed. And then when multiplying the two y terms, right, we have y squared times y cubed. We're going to keep the base and add the exponent. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Unfortunately, this is not like the original expression. Therefore, C is not going to be included in our final answer. Answer choice 1 is correct. All right, let's continue. Number 20, Joe deposits $4,000 into a certificate of deposit. So that's the initial amount. The CD earns 3% interest. So we're going to have 1 plus 0.03 compounded annually. The value of the CD in X years can be found using the function, right? So we're going to have f of X equals, and this is going to be our answer. So guys, how did I know that this was an exponential function? Anytime you're going to have a problem that's centered around some sort of compound interest, some sort of return, that's going to be an exponential growth function, right? We don't want to put our money into anything where we're losing. So it's typically going to be exponential growth. The standard format of an exponential function is going to be y equals a times b to the x. But when you're talking about some sort of exponential growth or decay model, you're going to have some sort of initial value, and we're going to have 1 plus or minus the rate raised to the time, right? So A represents our initial amount, which in this case was $4,000. We're always going to have the number 1, and then we need to decide, are the numbers going up or are they going down? In this case, they're going up because we want to grow our money, right? And then we need to turn the percent into a decimal. So we're going to move that decimal 2 places to the left, 1, 2, and that's how we ended up with 0.03 right here. And then of course, our time factor is always right here. So we can also have f of x equals 4,000 times 1.03 raised to the x. So let's take a look. We definitely don't want to add 4,000. So we're going to get rid of answer choice 1 and 2. We want to multiply by 4,000. We don't want 1.3 because then this 0.3 represents 30%. That's a whole lot, and that's very rare to get that from a bank. So 1.03 is definitely the correct answer. Let's continue. Number 21, when factored completely, negative x cubed plus 10x squared plus 24x is. So I'm going to start by factoring out negative x, because notice all of our answer choices has a negative x right in the beginning. So we're going to take that out. So if I remove negative x from each of these terms, really I'm dividing it out. I'm going to be left with x squared minus 10x minus 24. Let's just double check that by multiplying out. So negative x times x squared is negative x cubed. Negative x times negative 10x is positive 10x squared, and negative x times negative 24 is positive 24x. The next step is to go ahead and factor out our trinomial. We're going to start by asking ourselves, what times what gives you x squared? So that's going to be x times x. Then we need to figure out what two numbers, when you multiply, you get negative 24, but when you add, you get negative 10, okay? So let's think about this for a second. I know that when I add, I'm getting negative 10. So I'm thinking, what if we had a negative 12 times 2? Let's see. We know that in order to get a product that ends up being a negative number, one number needs to be a positive and one number needs to be a negative. And we know that when we're adding, we're ending up with a negative number. So the bigger number does need to be negative. So we have negative 24 as our product, and then negative 12 plus 2 is certainly negative 10. So we have x minus 12 and x plus 2. Let's take a look at our answer choices. So again, the negative x was present in all of our answer choices. It looks like they chose the wrong factors here. So it's definitely not answer choice 1 and 2. And now we're looking for an x minus 12 and an x plus 2. This looks really good. So choice 3 is the correct answer. Let's continue. Now, I love these kinds of problems. I didn't learn it until I was in high school at Bronx Science, learning my physics and my chemistry. That's when my teachers actually showed me how to work through these types of problems. I'm going to show you a really easy way to think about it. When the temperature is 59 degrees Fahrenheit, the speed of sound at sea level is 1,225 kilometers per hour. Which process could be used to convert this speed into feet per second? So we start off with 1,225 kilometers in 1 hour, but we want to end up with feet in the numerator and seconds in the denominator. The way it works is you can cancel out any unit in the numerator with any unit in the denominator. So we're not even focusing on the numbers. We just want to focus on the units. So kilometers will cancel out with kilometers. I'm going to take care of this in all of our answer choices, just so we can see. So look at this. There's a kilometer in the numerator, but there are no kilometers in the denominator. So automatically, I know that answer choice 3 is incorrect because I couldn't cancel out kilometers with any unit in the denominator. Let's check out answer choice 4. We have kilometer here in the numerator and kilometer here in the denominator. Now we want to cancel out hours. So we have hours here in the denominator, hours here in the numerator. So that cancels out. This is going to cancel out. And again, we ran into an issue. We have hours here in the denominator, but there are no hours as a unit in the numerator. So answer choice 4 is incorrect. All right, let's keep going. Let's look at answer choice 1. We have miles here in the numerator. Guys, there's no miles in the denominator. There's only minutes, feet, and seconds. So guess what? Answer choice 1 is incorrect. You see how easy that is? So now let's take a look at answer choice 2, which of course we know is the correct answer just by process of elimination, but I still want to show you how it works. So notice miles will cancel with miles, right? And then minutes will cancel with minutes. And then what units do we have left? We have feet in the numerator and seconds in the denominator, which is exactly what we were looking for. So choice 2 is the correct answer. Let's continue. Number 23, the zeros of a polynomial function are -2, 4, and 0. What are all the factors of this function? Guess what, guys? This is the easiest problem because once they give you the 0, just take the opposite number. So since one of the zeros is -2, we're going to have x plus 2. Since one of the zeros is +4, we're going to have x minus 4. You can add 0, you can subtract 0. You're still going to get the same end result, which is just x. So now we have x in front. We're going to have x plus 2, and we're going to have x minus 4, which of course is going to be choice 3. That's the correct answer. Let's continue. Number 24. What is the range of the function f of x equals x minus 4 squared plus 1? So I'll kind of talk you through it, but we can also use the calculator for this one. So guys, if you recall, the parent function here is the parabolic function, right? So I'm just going to do a quick sketch so you can see what's happening. So this is what y equals x squared looks like, which means the vertex here is right at 0, 0. This is y equals x squared. But then what's happening? Because we have a -4 in the parentheses, instead of shifting to the left, it's going to shift to the right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to shift 4 units to the right. And then it's also going to shift 1 unit up. Okay? So that's where our new parabola is going to be located. So this is what it looks like. Notice we now have a vertex at +4, 1, okay? So when we're thinking about the range is the set of all possible y values. The range of the parent function y equals x squared is all the values when y is greater than or equal to 0. But because this parabola shifts up 1 unit, our range is now going to be y is greater than or equal to 1. Now, guys, just in general, please remember that the range means the y values. And another way to think about the y values is basically f of x. So when we look at our answer choices, anything with x represented by the domain, so answer choice 1 and 2 are completely incorrect. So really, you just needed to choose between 3 and 4, and they both had a 1. So you just need to know that for a parabola, the y values are greater than or equal to 1. Now let's also take a look at the calculator so you can see how you could have done this very quickly. So again, remember, range is y values, f of x is the same thing as y, so we could have easily eliminated 1 and 2. We're going to start by hitting the y equals button, and we're going to enter our function right into y1. So we have open parentheses, x -4, close parentheses, then we're going to square it, and then we're going to add 1, right? So now let's take a look at our graph. So the question is, what is the range? So you need to figure out what's the smallest value of y, like what's going on with our y values, right? So notice as x gets smaller, the y values get way bigger. So let's try to figure out the smallest y value we see. We have 17, 10, 5, 2, 1. That looks to be pretty small, but then look at that. It starts to pick up again. 2, 5, 10, then it starts to get really big again, right? So the smallest y value that we're seeing in this table of values is the y value 1. So that's what lets us know that f of x has to be greater than or equal to 1. If you learned something in this video, please go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.